All right, let's try and get some perspective from developers out here as to how they're looking at these developments. Hari Pandey, VP Finance at HTR, is joining us on the phone line. We've also got Kumar Gera, founder and president of Credai, joining us to discuss the outlook as far as what the potential of teaser loan rates are concerned and how that's likely to play out for the sector. Mr. Gera, let me come to you first. In regard to what we just heard as far as the governor is concerned and also what Arundhati Bhattacharya was trying to get some perspective on, in the past, a couple of these products have actually worked for the sector as well. How crucial or how important do you believe is this entire teaser loan segment when we talk about the real estate sector?
Yeah, well, I think it was a very good question raised by the SBI chairman, to which the governor responded by indicating that a drop in home loan rates may be good, but his concern was with regarding to the need to softening prices. Now, I want to comment on this concern about softening prices. I think we sometimes do not look at the all-India, pan-India picture of prices. Prices must be watched on a pan-India basis and not on a few micro markets such as South Mumbai, Delhi, Gurgaon, or South Delhi. If we look at the pan-India average, the price today prevailing is a sub 6,000 rupee per square foot price and pricing without black money. These are transactions that are all available through housing finance and all upfront clean money. This must be considered. We should not get carried away by a few stray micro markets where prices are very high or the inventory levels are there. On an all-India basis, the inventory overhang is about 18 to 36 months at the present moment. And a drop of interest rates would be wonderful. I'm just wondering, can these teaser loans that the SBI chairman talked about again, last time it was with a time period of 1 year, which was very good. It was down to 7.5%, which was very good. It did what it needed, what was needed to be done. Could we bring in this time a price point to it? Say, for example, a sub 6,000 rupee price gets this teaser loan. I think something needs to be done on these lines to really provide the required stimulus.
Okay. I take your point there, Mr. Gera. Just hold that thought. Let me also get in a comment going from Mr. Pandey as well. Mr. Pandey, what do you believe of this entire debate when we talk about teaser loans? Is it too volatile right now? Is it the right time? Just to get a sense from you as well.
No, I think I agree with Mr. Gera that it is that anything which government does to revive this industry, especially to revive this whole demand in less than 6,000, or I would say in less than 3 million rupees mortgage. Because that's where the affordability comes in. That's where even if you look at in the city like Bombay, like the maximum people would be able to afford a house. So I think that's one step which government should look into it. Apart from the teaser loan, even I think she raised one point of risk weightage ratios. I think the inflation has gone down and we still have a very high risk weightage ratio for commercial real estate lending. So I think the couple of these steps should be taken by the government. To kind of revive the interest. These steps also will go hand in hand with the government policy of housing for all. Because what we have seen is that the cost of money for an affordable housing has not gone down, and similarly the pricings have not gone down. I also agree with the point that sometimes you tend to just look at some of this major metro cities, and even in metro cities, place like South Bombay, where it's more of a ticket size of apartments because there are different sets of customers who are looking at it. But largely, if you see, even in place like Bombay, especially the suburban side of the city, the prices have not moved up to a large extent. So it's high time that government gets this couple of policy things in place to revive the sector.
Yeah, but Mr. Gera, the question that always arises is, are these kind of steps going to really help the larger picture? Because, you were just commenting on the way the average pricing is really played out. I buy your point that there has been a little bit of a cool-off that we've seen in terms of pricing. But if you look at the overall trend as well, the affordability factor is still a big question mark when we talk about real estate pricing. My question basically here is, we talk about teaser loans, but will those steps be enough?
Yeah, but now let's not mix up affordable housing, social housing with the real estate market. Undoubtedly, it does form a part of real estate. Okay. But fact remains that these are huge markets at both ends that impacts the GDP and the economy. And you can't have one size fits all for all kinds of solutions. Therefore, if you look at these separately, the strategy for affordable housing is a completely different discussion and a different debate. The strategy for the overhang of unsold or unbooked units which are in the pipeline, which have forward-backward linkages and impact the economy, is a different topic. And for that, the idea of teaser loans has helped in the past. Why should it not help again? It did no damage in the past if it was for a time-bound period. It's a very strong case to permit that because we need the stimulus. We need the economy to start moving. And here you have something which is moving. Just support it in the right way and let it fly on its own.
Right, fair point, Mr. Gera. In fact, let me get a closing comment from Mr. Pandey as well. Mr. Pandey, what do you believe? Is this something that's going to work? You believe this is something that's probably needed for the industry right now? It's going to give that little bit of an impetus which is needed, considering the way the entire industry somewhat been lagging for the last few quarters now.
I think, as I said, that the point was raised by a banker and one of the largest bankers in India. So, which clearly shows that they also feel that this is a step which needs to be taken to revive the urban consumption. So I think this will be one of the steps to start with, but why not do it? I agree with Mr. Gera that when you look at India and when you want to grow at a GDP of more than 8% and a sector which is going to drive another 150 industries linked to it, I think this should be a positive step to move ahead. Let's start on this and let's see where does it go. And when it happened in past, it always gave a positive sense. So why not implement it and see it where it goes?
All right, fair enough, Mr. Pandey. Thanks so much for taking the time out. Mr. Gera as well. Thank you so much for explaining to us as to what kind of potential we're talking about and how important this is really when we talk about the industry. Some developers out there talking about if teaser loans do start or if there's any kind of consideration will be important for the industry because it's worked in the past and it still has a potential to work going forward. On that note, let's wrap up on this edition of Market Pulse. Stay tuned. Coming up next is Lunch Money.